joyous album, and it's got to be hard because I think you hit the pause button for almost 3 years when COVID struck out and said, okay, we're going to change the world and you're going to have to do things differently. So now you're kicking off the beginning of a year. The album's done, it's out. You're coming to Atlanta February the 5th. What's that, like the second or third date of a tour? And you've been anxiously waiting to do this. Are you relieved that you finally, you know, the horse race has kicked off and you're getting to actually do this? Are you glad that you're you know, getting to travel with this music and tell everybody?
Everything in its time, Bob. Everything in its time. The pandemic gave me opportunity to, it just put us off the road. And I was getting to the point where I was going to have to take myself off the road because my father had Alzheimer's and we had to have help at home. And I wanted to be the person helping, not a stranger. And it worked out it was almost to the point where I was just like, I'm joking, but is this pandemic just happening to me in some parallel universe so I can get off the road and be with my family when they need me? Or is everybody really experiencing this? I'm joking, but it really helped me out in that way. Once we got Larry well and he didn't die, it was scary. And then when we got him well, I headed down to Tennessee, and he would come and go as he could and helped us also. And then, my father passed about a year ago, and it was just the most profound experience I've ever had. So I just feel, not of him passing, but of just being able to be with him in those last couple of years. And very deep, very, very, very deep experience. Full of a lot of hilarity and laughing, and also, you know, just deep life stuff.
For you and for me, very much a time to take advantage of, because you wouldn't have been able to do those things. You'd have been committed, or you'd have really struggled to fight your way through to try and juggle both. My mother died that June, but she was 95.8, and you know, there comes a time where there has to be some acceptance. But the problem is, I took care of my mother the last 16 years from laptop and an iPad in the U.S. I managed her world there, since my dad was gone. And I was due to be there the first week of May, like I normally would be. I go there for a week. I drive Miss Daisy around everywhere. She conks out in the car about 3, 4 in the afternoon. I take her back to her place, and I go see my friends and shows at night. So they canceled everything. You know, the airlines canceled flying. The home she was in said, nobody's coming through this door. Wow. She wasn't sick, and she wasn't emotionally having a problem. It was just her time. It was 10 o'clock in the morning in June, having a cup of tea in bed, and bonk, that was that. But at first, I was distraught because I couldn't travel, couldn't do anything. And it took me 4 months to bury her. But then after that amount of time, I realized, wow, you know, what a wonderful way to just say, you know, you're done. She'd lived a long life, and she hadn't got COVID. Nobody in that old folks' home got sick because they just refused to let anybody in. So it was really a good thing for me, because I had time to write about her and make plans and do things, which eventually came back around. And I think a lot of people like you and I took advantage of that, of the COVID space. I've been calling it the lost years recently, because it's like something on the calendar got ripped off real fast, and you know, stuff disappeared. But anyway, you are back out, and you're doing this.
With us, it felt like my father went in his own time, in his own way, at home with us all around. So and he knew us, even though he had Alzheimer's. He knew all of us. So it was, and he was tried to be funny all the time. We just had, I mean, you know, that's the way we should all get to go. You know.
Yeah. I mean, well, the great thing is now you get to celebrate it. Now you can go ahead and take this album on the road and show everybody, you know, what that feeling is like to hear this gorgeous gumbo of music, and when no one's distracted, you know, anywhere near like they were 3 years ago, including you and everybody around you. So yeah, absolutely a wonderful thing to be able to do today. It's February the 5th. I'm sorry, I was just checking. Eddie's Attic is one of Atlanta's unique singer-songwriter acoustic venues. Although we have live bands and electric there, it's very much a listening room. It's very close in. You can communicate very directly with everybody. So I think it's probably the best equivalent of a place to reenact, you know, live at Levon's. It's going to be a very, I think, an emotional place to play stuff like that in a joyful way, not in a negative way.
Yeah. It has been. I've had people when you think like you're exhausted and you know it's another night and I'm too tired. It's not getting over. You know, maybe I felt it, but I didn't think they got it. And then have people come up to me at the signing thing, and like a lady gave me a charm bracelet one night, and she just like it. She took it off of her hand and put it in my hands, and just the look in her face said everything. And it's like you just never know. You have to just keep putting it out and trusting and trying to keep that spirit in it. And yeah, exactly what you said. Exactly what you said, Bob.
Well, that's good. That's good. I'm glad, because material like that has to be felt. And there are too many cold places where bands just jump up and play. And yes, you're in the audience, but it's not the same thing at all if you don't feel it. And there used to be a lot more places like that in London. that I can still, without hesitation, feel the hairs on my neck prick up because of where I was and who was in front of me, and that room and everything that drove that. So you've got some traveling to do. That reminds me, I've been meaning to, this is a Larry question. 7 years on the road with Bob Dylan, was he much of a talker, chatting while traveling?
Well, 8 years, as it were. and you know, when somebody asks, was Bob Dylan this or was Bob Dylan that, the answer is always yes and a no. You know, there's and somewhere in between, because the guy kind of defies description, and just when you think you have an aspect of him figured out, you're proven wrong. And I've never really met anybody like him. There were nights when we would, just hang and talk about stuff that everybody talks about, like you're just hanging with a bunch of friends, and then there were nights where we couldn't get a word out of them about anything, and and all the communication was done through an intermediary, I'm still trying to assess that 8-year experience myself, but I'm certainly glad I did it, and it was when I was coming up learning to play guitar, it was the Big Bang was the Beatles on the Ed Sullivan Show in 1964. And then you had the Rolling Stones and Bob Dylan, and that was sort of the holy trinity of our music back then, and everything else. And then the late '60s turned into such a fertile time for rock and roll and all kinds of genres of music. But it was for so many of my peers musically, those three acts that was kind of, as I said, the holy trinity, and then to find myself playing music with this guy that meant so much to me back then, it was a great place to be. It really was.
Somebody told me that when you're actually traveling, car, train, whatever, but you're in a moving vehicle, there was an unknown rule that if he puts the hoodie up, it means no talking.
No. That's folklore. That's Bob lore. It's just, yeah.
Well, who else could be the pinnacle of folklore but him?
Exactly. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Well, let's. I'm going to play one more song. You guys can get on with your 600-mile arm wrestling, whatever things you have to get done.
It's 1,000 miles to be exact.
But I thought Larry was driving, and that's only 600.
No, well, from Woodstock to Memphis, down here where I am, I'm halfway between Memphis and Nashville, a little bit closer to Memphis. It's 1,000 miles to where he is. Yep.
It's 1,100 exactly. Actually, it's 1,100. But who's counting? Right?
Yeah, our big bang was Johnny Cash, Carl Perkins, and Elvis, Hank Williams. Yeah.
That is the perfect marriage scenario, because you get to do whatever the hell you want, and when you choose to be together, you maximize the time because you've got to figure out how much time you have, and slot it in and make the most of it. But certainly, yeah, that's quite a stretch. But I wanted you to answer a question about the song, because I will play it as the outro to the end of the conversation. We're going to have Ain't Gonna Be a Good Night. Now, I don't have the lyrics or anything. I was just listening to it, and I'm thinking, yeah, is this about some trouble? Like something big's about to happen on Yellowstone Ranch, you know how that blows up? Or is this about a storm?
The trouble. Yeah, it's more about the trouble. It's about, well, it can be about whatever you want it to be about, really. But the impetus for me writing this was let's say it was my perception of what was going on politically in this country, you know, and then you can just take that from there and put it wherever you want, you know.
Well, that's what I felt more than I felt the weather-wise, but thinking about, you know, where you guys were, I thought, well, it could be storm-related, but I felt this was trouble brewing the way it was coming across. So I'm glad that I was, at least my ears worked better than my wife says they do. She doesn't realize that there's this thing called selective hearing, you know, and I'll tell you a quick joke that's relevant to it, because I use it so much now. 3 years ago, my wife actually said, you know, there were really times it's annoying where, you know, you're not hearing what I'm telling you. She couldn't understand what I tried to explain to her. I said, no, there's too much clutter in and around me, in the room, in the building, whatever it is. I said, if you'd like to come back to the room where we started the conversation, turn off the tap and the microwave, maybe I'll stand a chance, right? So I went and had my hearing tested as part of an excuse to do with ear, nose, and throat. I'd broken my nose a few times playing soccer and racquetball, and I wanted to see what it would take to get a better help. But in the meantime, they gave you a free, very unique hearing test that took them 30 minutes inside like a little mini studio, and electronics and measurement and all this very cool, groovy stuff that my wife is saying, wow, they went to a lot of trouble. I came out with a report that says I have acute hearing, and I've been using that ever since. The problem is I hear everything, and I hear it so much, it's hard to filter out, right? So that was my reason as to why I didn't hear what she was saying. If you shut down everything else so I can focus on you. So now the joke has become, if I don't hear something, she'll say, oh, okay, you've got that filter closed.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to try that. I'm going to try that.
Well, you can't try it now. I've already blown your cover.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
okay.
I want to thank you so much for taking the time to share and laugh and joke and be joyous about an album that I think is full of all of those things, and great musicianship and great songwriting and just lots of cool stuff to begin the year with, something groovy to kick off with. And I'm very glad that you got to explain a little bit about you and the album and all the other things, and we'll get to hear some more of it. But I'm going to play the Yellowstone Trouble song and let people decide. Down here, they'll tell you about good trouble from the nature of the world in Atlanta, Georgia. But we certainly look forward to your good trouble showing up here at Eddie's Attic on February the 5th, which will be a lot of fun. And I'd like, if you have a second, I'll come chat and say hello before you get kicked off.
We're very much looking forward to it, and it'd be great to shake your hand, Bob. A pleasure to talk to you, and thanks for having us.
Yes.
For the miles down Route 66. Route 66 celebrates a special time when jazz, R&B, and blues were all on the same page and often in the same song. The focus is on the music of the jump blues and early rock and roll eras of the 40s to mid-50s and how those styles have evolved over the years. It's truly great American music that scared some folks half to death.
That two-beat pattern is the music brought to the United States of America by the communist conspiracy to corrupt teenagers.
Well, whatever. Please join us Sunday morning from 7 to 9 for Route 66 on WRFG 89.3 FM. Your independent community radio station is streaming worldwide over our free mobile app and WRFG.
Well, that was certainly a large time and a lot of fun having two legends on the show. If you want to see them do this thing, it's Sunday, February the 5th at Eddie's Attic. It's tea time, folks. Yes, we're going to get jazzy. Saturday night, my wife's Christmas present came due. Middle of October, I got her tickets to see Lake Street Dive at the Eastern for her Christmas present. Just as what I did, because by the end of October, it sold out. Yes, for January the 21st, that's how good they are. 2,200 people smushed into the Eastern and had an equally large time. Luckily, I got us into a good spot, and we grabbed some food upstairs so that we could boogie for the night. Life was pretty good. What a lot of people don't know is that Rachel Price, who I adore as a singer, I've seen her numerous times do numerous things, has a side project that you're about to hear. And then you'll know what I know. Well, as far as she's concerned. Oh, no, you didn't know if you weren't there. She's 7 and a bit months pregnant. She's due in 7 weeks, I think, 6 to 7 weeks' time. Yes, didn't slow her down a bit. Very impressed. Tremendous show, and well done, girl. She's still on tour. I don't know how she does it. Yeah, I remember being young. Back in the old days.
I remember when 5 bells would toll and work would end. He and I would meet out on the square. There wasn't anybody anywhere could keep my love from being there. Not even in the evening, he can't find the time. Those hours once were mine, from 5 to 9. Days are when the race is run and my baby wins, but he's been cutting in on my evenings. Sorry, darling, can't do like we planned. The man is really riding me, confiding me. Do you think that I've been working too hard? Just a broken date or two. Things ain't so grim. I guess I'll see him some evening.
sea of eyes I've hypnotized, but I can see just two. And if you stray at dawn,
not even yawn in that time of the morning,
I know my one is gone.
sleep tight, it'll be alright.
In all the world, no boy and girl in love is just we two. In love is just we two.
Hate is the basis of love.
Despising is the wise thing, foreseeing if you see things eye to eye.
Imagine hating raisins, now everything has raisins, 'cause you fell for a raisin crazy fool.
And in your shared apartment there lives a purple carpet, 'cause guess what? Mr. Raisin loves that too.
And every hat he wears is apt to irritate,
'Cause every hat he owns is a hat you hate.
if only you'd been straighter, said, honey, I'm a hater. If you wanna know what floats my boat, then ask what gets my goat. 'Cause hate is the basis of love. Good night, my love. The tired old moon is descending. Sleep tight, my love. My moment with you is now ending. It was so heavenly, holding you close to me. It would be heavenly to hold you again in a dream. The stars above have promised to meet us tomorrow. Till then, my love, how weary the new day will seem. But for the present, dear, we'll have to part. Good night, my love. Sleep tight, my love. Remember that you're mine, sweetheart.
Good night, my love. The tired old moon is descending. Sleep tight, my love. My moment with you is now ending. It was so heavenly, holding you close to me. It will be heavenly to hold you again in a dream. The stars above have promised to meet us tomorrow. Till then, my love, how weary new day we'll see. But for the present, dear, we'll have to part.
Good night, my love.
Sleep tight, my love.
Remember that you're mine.
Remember that you're mine.
Remember that you're mine, sweetheart.
Good morning, Atlanta. Kit Packham from One Jump Ahead here, throwing my voice all the way from England. You're listening to Good Morning Blues with that big swinging dignitary, UK Bob, on WRFG Atlanta.
So that was 4 tracks woven together from the album Rachel and Viljay. Now, Rachel spells her name Achael, as is on the birth certificate of my daughter, whose name has been Cayman since she was 12, because that's her middle name, and she said, I don't want to be Rachel. So I get it. I told my mother the same thing, and you will never know my real name. Haha. Back to the music. This is their 3rd album. Viljay is a jazzy guitar player, great singer. There are some duets and there are some where they share the duties, but I would say the majority is her voice and him playing. And they're very good at it. The other obvious thing for those of you with an ear, especially for organs, the wonderful touch of Mr. Larry Goldings throughout. So I hope you enjoyed that. We are going to swing into yet another different direction. You've heard me delve into Beatles blues over the years, probably 20 years. It actually all started in London. Then I picked up on an Italian guitar player, and most recently the Brazilian Boys Blues Beatles band, who were the very last show we had at the Vista Room on my birthday. But I digress. Coming up now, terrific singer and a award-winning, superb keyboard player doing something that I thought was wonderful in terms of reinterpreting, and I think that's the key. Just conversion into a bluesier sound, keeping the theme, and you know this song, but totally reorganizing it in a way I think your ears are going to love.
If somebody tries to take my place, let's just pretend and we can't see her face. In this world, there's nothing I would rather do. Oh yeah, I'm happy just to dance with you. Let's just pretend that we can't see her face. In this world, there's nothing I would rather do. Yeah, I'm discovered I'm in love with you. Just to dance with you. Oh, everything I need. Before this dance is through, I think I'll love you too. Oh, I'm so seems like years. Baby, it seems so long. Yeah, since you've been gone, I just can't go on. Yeah, gather round, all you clowns, and let me hear you say, let me hear now. You got to hide your love away. Yeah, that's what they tell me now. Hey, you got to hide your love away. Oh, no. Yeah, how could he say to me? He said, love will find a way. Oh, gather round, all you clowns, and let me hear you say, yeah, let me hear you say, you got to hide your love away. Oh, but I can feel it. Hey, really done me. Oh, he done. Yeah, he done me good. And I guess nobody ever really done me. Oh, 'cause he done me good. Don't let me down. Oh, baby, don't let me down. Oh, no. Don't let me down. Ooh, don't let me down. Oh, don't let me down. Oh, no, no. Don't let me down. Don't do it, baby.
That was the excellent Teresa James and keyboard player Kevin McKendry. And I'm sure son Yates McKendry is in there doing something somewhere. Teresa's husband, Terry Wilson, and the group of them got together. Apparently, this was during lockdown, this stuff was gathered together, but I believe it came out just before Christmas. I don't know how I missed it or whether it was just sat on for a bit, but probably just got buried in Santa this and Santa that. But that's fine because we catch up in the end. And superb interpretations, very skillfully intertwined into that soulful Texas-Memphis blend and Muscle Shoalsy bits. Very familiar and yet freshly arranged if you're a Beatles fan. And I think that applies to a lot of people and reminds me to go back and look in a minute, and I'll come back and I'll tell you who started all that, because for whatever reason, it's dropped out of my head. Oh, and by the way, even the cover is very Yellow Submarine-ish. So, rather good. Let's play a track from local chap with new album on Roof Records. This one's got a bit of a New Orleans groove to it.
Hey everybody, it's 89 Volt. It's 89 Volt, man, and you're listening to WRFG Atlanta Good Morning Blues with UK Bob. London to Louisiana. Dude plays the best music, man. Tune in, drop out, dig it. Yellow alligator just swimming through the gumbo. Gotta keep your head down, looking for the jumbo. Yeah. Got a funny feeling, got the blues on Monday. Gotta swim back for the storm on Sunday, or we're all gonna get wet. Everybody living in the city, but they're living a lie. Just living a lie. Playing all my music in the bayou where I always stay high. Gotta stay high, baby. Yes, I do. A fever to my mama, she was dancing with the boombox. Passed right out and she fell in the boondocks. It made a mighty sound. We're gonna have a party in the low-down swampland, grilling on some eagle with a no-name fireman. Or just messing around. Everybody living in the city, but they're living a lie. Just living a lie. Playing all my music in the bayou where I always stay high. I gotta stay high, baby. Yes, I do.
Saturday, January 28th from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. in partnership with WRFG and the South River Watershed Alliance. Beloved Commune presents its first Ochoa Forum. Ochoa, or OCHOA, is an acronym for Our Community Hears One Another, and the forum aims to create a space where radical thought and ideas can be expressed, scrutinized, and cultivated in open dialogue and communal participation. At this inaugural forum, the South River Watershed Alliance will be discussing multiple legal actions to preserve the South River and its forest, as well as the relationships to the Stop Cop City and Stop the Swap struggle. Portions of the afternoon's discussions will be available on wrfg.org to stream. There will be vegan food, a brief meditation, forum focus, brainstorming sessions, and collective reflection. Once again, that's Saturday, January 28th from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. at the Little Five Points Community Center, home of WRFG, and located at 1083 Austin Avenue Northeast, Atlanta, Georgia 30307. This has been another public service announcement from your station for progressive information and handpicked quality music, WRFG 89.3 FM and WRFG.org.
Well, I'm sad to say that on Monday, I got a message from Jim McCarty, the drummer for the Yardbirds, that another Yardbird has flown away. Top Topham, the very first guitar player, has passed away at the age of 75 from dementia issues. An English blues musician and an artist. I think he was from Southall, but what he was known as was the first lead guitar. He was only 15. So when they started getting, busy gigs and stuff like that, he had to leave before their success really got rolling, and was replaced by Eric Clapton, the first of three big names to gain global reputation. The others were Jeff Beck, who died just last week, and Jimmy Page. And he said, there's no way my parents were going to let me play 5 nights a week, even though I was earning double what my dad was. I was at Epsom Art School, he said, and they wanted me to take it seriously. He said Eric was the obvious replacement. Later on, he said he didn't regret leaving as they'd moved away from the pure blues that he wanted to play in. He says, I would have left for the same reasons Eric did. Anyway, at art college, he formed bands with his friend Duster Bennett. I've got a great picture of him and Duster at Guildford Art School. He joined Winston G. and the Wicked, which was a band later renamed The Fox, and played alongside Mark Bolan before anybody knew who he was. Anyway, he revived his association with Duster Bennett and recorded a live album with him, which led to an introduction to Mike Vernon, who put him on his Big Blue Horizon label. So there's lots of material of that era, and Top Topham became a big used session musician for Blue Horizon, playing with Peter Green and Christine McVie, Christine Perfect. So he did a solo album called Ascension Heights and was touring with John Mayall. But unfortunately, he got sick in 1970 and had to abandon the music industry again. But he went on to do lots of other things. And that's why you're going to hear some Top Topham songs now.
Well, all of you are very lucky because now there's a special bonus track for you all.
I I don't know where she could back 10 years. Oh, people would never do, no one would ever know. I really like the car back 10 years. Oh, people would never do, no one would ever know. 'Cause you know the life I'm living now, yeah. Oh, just don't seem to be happy to me no more. It's been so many sad years. Oh, people, you know, since I really had no fun. It's been so many sad years. Oh, people, since I really had no fun. But every person I meet nowadays, oh, keep telling me, son, your life has just begun.